I'm Steph from iDriver Classic, and in today's video we're doing a test of the twist. We're testing this incredible Austin Healey Sprite Mark IV from 1970, but it's a test of the twist because usually at the end of the video we go bye and we never see the car again. But today's video is different because this is a car that you can win. Lancaster Insurance Services are giving away this particular car that we're testing here today absolutely free this year. And I know you're going to be saying to me, Steph, how do I win it? Well, that's coming later in the video when we go out for a drive. But first of all, I'm going to take you for a tour around the car. I'm going to talk to you about the history of it, show you up close in detail, and then we're going to meet the current soon-to-be ex-owner who has put 400 hours into this car to turn it from a lackluster shell into the beautiful car that you see here today. But first of all, we've got a message from our channel sponsor. Life is too short to drive something boring. So if you're looking for your first classic or your next classic, why not check out Bidding Classics Auctions? Whether it's something pre-war, mid-century, or maybe something newer like a retro hot hatchback, check out their website. There's a link in the description box below, or you can Google Bidding Classics Auctions. There's new stuff going on the website every single week, so why not check them out? Now let's go back to the video. By 1970, the Austin Healey Sprite was a name that many people knew very well. It came to market in 1958 with the Mark I, which many of you will know as the Frogeye Sprite. But by 1970, the second to last year of production, it looked very different to its 50s namesake. Ownership, in my opinion, of these later cars in today's modern world is a lot easier than those early Frogeye cars. Now, in the early Frogeyes, the doors, you have to unlock them from the inside, whereas on these, you can unlock the door from the outside, and it means you can leave it locked properly with the hood up and everything, and it doesn't require any reaching in. And also that attached hood is just a little bit more functional, and the larger 1275cc engine just means that whilst that Frogeye styling, in my opinion, melts even the coldest of hearts, these later Mark IVs have a degree of functionality and practicality, which just makes them a tad more usable in the cruel modern world. Now, of course, it's worth mentioning at this point, because someone's going to bring it up, that the Mark IV Sprite and the Mark III Midget were virtually one and the same, give or take some badging and trimming at the point of launch in the mid to late 60s, I think about 66. Now, the Sprite, when it came to market as we see here today, the Mark IV Sprite was £672, whilst the Midget, which came out at the same time, was £684. It's a little bit of a price difference, but their optional extras were priced at exactly the same costs. So I think a heater was just over £14 and seatbelts were £10 on the nose. Now, by 1969, so a few years after that Mark IV came to market, and just before this vehicle we test here today was sold in March 1970, both the Sprite and the Midget prices had risen. They were both now sitting at £811. And whilst we slip into the 70s, it's worth noting that 1970 was the last full year of BMC's licensing agreement with Healey, which meant that the last 1,000 or so of these Austin Healey Sprites were sold in the latter part of 71, simply badged as Austin. Now, 1971 saw the end of the Healey Sprite, and it was part of a bigger thing going on. So there's mergers going on in the background amongst many marques. They all come together in the UK and they form British Leyland. And with all the marques coming together, you get lots of different cars, and the lineup had become quite cluttered. The Midget survives the shake-up, as did the now owned British Leyland Spitfire, but it also means that something has to go, which means that the Austin Healey Sprite goes. And it's sad really, because the Spitfire goes from being a rival in the West Midlands to a cuckoo in the nest, which pushes it on out. But that's the history. What about the performance? Well, on a Mark IV Sprite of this age, you've got the 1275cc lump that I've already mentioned. Now, it was a bit of a damp response autopress-wise at the time of launch, because they'd put the same engine into the Cooper S, but they've detuned it on these to cut costs. The crankshaft compression ratio's down, valves and ports are a little restricted. Autopress, a little bit disappointed. And with that, you get around 65 brake horsepower from new, although with this engine being rebuilt and everything being very fresh, I would expect something in the region of that now. You'll get around 93 miles per hour as your top speed, which I'm going to take as gospel from the autocar test of the time, as on today's test, with it being a fresh engine and still being run in, I don't exceed 50. You're looking at around 30 miles per gallon for typical fuel consumption, and you'll probably get around 180 miles in a tank, which does seem a little bit short. I do complain about that later on as well. The car is standard on the brakes front. We've got unassisted discs to front and drums to rear on this, and it pulls up very nicely on test. Now, I did note mentally, but forgot to mention it when I go out driving, there's no synchro on first, which, considering the automotive landscape of the time, isn't shocking, but would have been a nice to have. Now, we're over half a century from when this car was new. It's had quite an adventure in the last 5 decades, so I thought the next person that I wanted to get on camera was the now previous owner Kev, to tell us why he picked this Sprite and why he decided to undertake a very costly restoration.
Hello, I'm Kev Hass, and I'm just going to mention my Austin Healey Sprite, which I believe some lucky person is going to win it, which is quite good. The car, I bought it 4 years ago, and I was going to rebuild it for my 50th birthday. Hard to believe, but I'm actually over 50 now. I used to run these cars when I was in my 20s, and I absolutely loved them then, and thought I'll recreate my youth. Sadly, I'm selling it because I can't get in and out of it anymore. I struggle with a bit of a back problem, so unfortunately, it's not for me, the car. I've loved rebuilding it. I was going to give it my son for his 21st, but unfortunately, it's not for him. He's not really interested in classic cars, unfortunately. So basically, got it, stripped it down to 1,000,000 pieces, like a shell, engine and gearbox out, turned it on its side. The body on it was actually quite good to start with, which is another reason why I bought it. But like all these projects, once you get into them, you realise they're going to cost a damn sight more than what you first thought. And there is an old adage saying, how do you make a small fortune selling cars? Basically, you start off with a large fortune and invest in it, and then you end up with a small fortune in it. So I've done polybushers, fitted a sill on the near side that was badly corroded. Took the bonnet off, found out that started stripping the bonnet off, and the bonnet was badly rusty, so I had to replace with a brand new bonnet. I put a brand new near sight front wing on it. The boot lid was corroded, so I got a good second-hand boot lid. Floors were good, suspension would be good. It's had an awful lot of work done to it prior to me getting it. Brand new brakes, polybushers, hood frame, carpets, reconditioned radiator, and eventually not run it for ages, took it for an MOT, brought it back for an MOT, and I noticed that it was smoking quite badly out the back. I thought, oh dear, what's this? Had a look at it, and I had to completely rebuild the engine. Took the engine out, had to have it rebored, crank reground, etc. Plus 20 and 10 on the shells. So it had never been done before, which was quite good, but the bores were quite badly worn. So it's had new pistons, new cam followers, new timing chain, bolts, gaskets, thermostat, the list goes on and on and on. It's got a performance electronic ignition distributor fitted to it, and a brand new dynamo, reconditioned starter motor, and new tyres. Anything it's needed, it's had. I did not do it with the intention of selling the vehicle, which is why I've got a lot more in it than what I first wanted to have in, to say the least. But it is nice. I have enjoyed it. I did it throughout lockdown, so it was quite good. I had time with lockdown, like a lot of people did. So I did something productive and constructive in my lockdown. However, I've made the decision I can't get in and out of it. My son's not interested in it, so it's going to some lucky person. And if whoever the lucky winner is, I'd love to speak to them about it, and I could tell them all that I've done about it. There's reams of photographs, reams of bills, and oh dear me, it's all rather depressing financially. However, the results are quite good. I've enjoyed driving it today, and I'm glad that Steph's done a lovely little video on it and stuff, which is quite good. So good luck to the winner, and bear in mind, my financial loss is your gain.
When this Sprite came to market, it came out with an incredible strapline. It was maximum fun and performance for minimum money. And I read that and I thought, reading between the lines, I reckon that's going to mean we're going to get into this and there's going to be absolutely nothing at all on the dash. But I've come in and been pleasantly surprised because there is far more than I thought we were going to get. There's one key element missing, which I think if you are the lucky winner of this or you're looking to buy one of these, it's definitely something that you should add in because it'll make it more accessible all year round. But we haven't got to that bit of the video yet. So let me show you what we have got. So first of all, we've got our windscreen washer up here, coming down into the choke. You've then got your lights over here. Keep getting the lights and the wipers mixed up, but you know it's the lights because it's 2 clicks. Just above there, you've got your fuel gauge, you've got your key, bob dead centre, you've got this lovely little Sprite detailing on the dash, which I think actually fills that space quite nicely, where they haven't put in any extra gauges or dials or dashes. It's a nice little addition. Coming over from there, you've got your oil and water temperature gauge. And up here, this is where I think that you might want to add something in, because this is for an optional heater, and guess what? The original owner didn't pick the option, so there isn't a heater in here. And we're filming in March, and it's a little bit nippy, but not too bad. So if you wanted to use this for more than high days and holidays, I think it would be a great thing to put a heater into this. Coming down from there, you've got your single speed wiper. And then over here, you've got your panel light switch. Coming in front of us, it's lovely and simple. So to our left, we've got the rev counter, and to the right hand side there, you have got your speedo. And in front of you there, you have got just 2 warning lights, and it's simply for your left and your right indicator. And in front of us here, we have got a motor litre steering wheel. Now, if you've never seen one of these before, they're quite a popular aftermarket addition to those mid-century 60s and 70s as well British sports cars. You see them a lot on things like MGBs, midgets. They're a very popular addition, and they go for quite a bit of money actually. And I think Kev said this cost him £100 to put on. It's slightly smaller than the original steering wheel, but I don't think it detracts from the driving experience, because essentially you are in a very small space. It's quite nippy and it's like, it's lovely. It goes really well with the feel of the car in a way that you don't fully appreciate until you're in the driving seat yourself. Well, that's it in a nutshell, really. Let's get it started up. I think the one thing I will say is that it got marked down for it at the time. It does only have a 6-gallon tank on this, so if you are planning a slightly longer adventure, you might need to plan your fuel stops as well. So let's have a listen to how it sounds. Remember, we have got that 1275 under the bonnet, but have a listen. So just need to keep checking it's in neutral. Now, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give it a little rev for you. Now, she's quite a noisy old gal. I think she hits 4,500 RPM at 70. In today's test, we're not going to be absolutely belting it round. And to be honest, you don't have to. You feel very alive, even when you're going about 35, 40 miles per hour. But first of all, let's get a shot from the back as well, so you can hear what she sounds like from behind. And then we're going to go out together. Right, let's go on an adventure, and you might be able to see my breath because it is jolly cold today, but we've got snow forecast tomorrow, so it doesn't look like it's going to be getting any warmer. Wait for this car to go. Right, let's go. and we get up into top gear, which is 4th gear, with relative ease. And the nice thing about this car is, and I know that Kev spoke at length about all the work he's done and all the work that's been done prior, so I'm not going to stress on about that. But the thing is about this particular car is she looks like an old bird, she sounds like an old bird, but as soon as you're in that driving seat, it's like you're handling a spring chicken, because everything's very tight, it's very together, and you can feel that it's been put back together very, very nicely. It's such an exhilarating drive. Am I the fastest car on the road today? Absolutely not. But it doesn't take away from the driving fun. And you know what? This car would be so much more fun if the weather was a bit better. Because today it's only a few degrees above zero, which means that we're riding around with the hood up, and I don't know, I think that takes away slightly from the driving experience. But for what we're getting inside here today, yes, it's noisy, yes, it's a little bit slow, but honestly, the driving position, the feel of that motor-liter steering wheel in my hand as I come up through this mountainous range, it is brilliant. And I've just been reminded actually how much fun a classic can be, because I haven't really been driving my own that much lately because of the weather and because of all the salt on the roads. So coming out in this today isn't just a pleasure because it's a jolly fun car in a brilliant colour. It's also good fun because it's reminded me of why we all love classics. It's not just about getting around on 4 wheels, it's an exhilarating experience going from A to B, because a lot of life is very, very boring. So coming into something like this and taking it for a spin and experiencing these Yorkshire roads winding round between all these hills and all the moorside, it is fantastic. But of course, that's not what you're hanging on for. What you're hanging on for is, how do you win this particular car? Well, first of all, come and see it in the flesh. It's going to be on the show, it's going to be on show even, at the NEC Practical Classics Restoration Show with Discovery Plus in March. It's running from, I think, March 24th to March 26th, so that's the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and it's going to be on the Lancaster Insurance Services stand, and we're in Hall 5 this year. And if you've ever wanted to say hello to me or come and have a chat with me about your car, and I love geeking out about other people's cars with them, come and see me. I'm going to be on the stand every single day for the first hour of the show, and I'm also going to get back at the end of the show and do the last hour as well. So come and see me there and we can chat about everything, whether it's insurance, whether it's your car, and also I want to come and see people from car clubs as well. But part of this being on the stand is you can enter to win the car. It's completely free of charge to enter. You just give your details essentially, and the team take that off you, and then you enter into the prize draw. Now I know for many of you, you work funny hours a little bit like I do, and you maybe can't make the NEC Practical Classics show. Don't worry about it, it's okay. I've managed to sort a link out for you, so there's the link in the description box below. But whilst you're also in the description box, get a load of that restoration discount code. So if you are coming to the show in March, I've got a discount code for you there in the description box, so make sure you use that as well to get a bit of money off, and I'll see you there. So remember, if you can't make the show, the link is in the description box below. If you are coming to the show, come and see us on the Lancaster Insurance Services stand. We'll be in Hall 5, and I hope to see so many of you there. My own car is going to be on the stand as well, which I'm really excited about, oh my god. But that's not what this video is about. We're going to be talking about my Morris Minor very, very soon. Now I hope you've enjoyed this video. I have enjoyed making it so much. It's not the fastest car I've ever tested. I mean, 0 to 60 in this is what, 14.6 seconds, but it has put such a smile on my face, and I know that whoever wins this is going to have the best time. I know I have. She's a beautiful car. She's been restored with so much love and tenderness and thoughtfulness, and I'm going to be very, very sad to hand over the keys, but that's the way these competitions work. So remember, you've got to be in it to win it. Get those details filled in. If you can't make the show, links in the description, and if you can come to the show, I'll be on the stand for the first hour and the last hour of the show every single day, and I hope to meet loads of you there. Okay, well that's it from me today. I hope you've enjoyed the video, and until next weekend when we're looking at something very different once again, take care and drive safely.